Phil and Will are back, recapping Surviving Barstool Season 3, Episode 7. Only 2 episodes left. And we were wondering how they were going to start whittling it down. And boy, did they whittle it down. We got double boot. I know nobody really talks about this stuff, like this episode happens and then it's over and then everybody kind of moves on and people will tweet about it here and there, but had no idea this double boot was coming. I couldn't read into that. I was absolutely floored when they just said, when the first tribal happened at 38 minutes or something, I was like, man, are we about to watch a really, really long flashback that they just decided not to show us early, which I actually thought could have been kind of cool, but also something we've never seen in Survivor.
Yeah, I'm pretty devastated by the double boot. Actually, I probably lost my two favorite contestants, and neither of them are going to be in episode 8, and then neither will obviously make the finale. So I think this is a big hit to the boot order, at least for me. I did not see this coming at all. And the last time we chatted, we tried to break it down, and we were like, okay, yeah, we got that double boot out of the way. Let's do a 5 or 1 boot at whatever episode this is 6, 1 at 7, and then 5 people going to the finale. That's what Survivor does. Mm-hmm. And so that feels kind of right to have a finale with 5 people. It's going to have 4 people, though, it looks like. It might even have 3 if we get to 2 next week.
If it has 3, that's kind of boring for a final 3 to just start the episode with them already done doing everything.
It could be a final 2.
Have they? But they really talked about final 3. I mean, a final 2 would be funny. I was really surprised they did this because I felt like the last episode was going to be really long because the first episode was like an hour and a half or something like that. So I thought that this was also going to be like an hour and a half finale, and it doesn't seem like that's what we're going to get. Maybe we will, but with only 4 people and without Tommy Smokes, where's the drama? The only drama at this point is Shay just going to cry his eyes out, or will he, be able to man up and be one of the boys? Like, what are you thinking for that finale?
Shay has no shot to win and doesn't deserve to be here.
Dude, that challenge was amazing. And it reminded me how much I love that challenge in real Survivor during rewards. I don't like it for immunity because the people at the bottom don't actually have a chance to win, because if you get the question right, the big flaw in that game is that if you get the question right, you have no way of protecting yourself. So you can't win. If you're on the bottom, everybody can just come after you, even if you get the first 2 questions right. But I love this in this game because it doesn't matter as much, and because it was really, really funny for them to do dumbest and funniest and doesn't deserve to be here and all of that. And what was it? Fights won dumbest, but nobody put fights down when they.
Yeah, and he said he would disagree. He's like, I disagree with this answer. And then when it lands on him, he's like, oh, actually, I changed my mind. I agree completely.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a really funny challenge. And I think, for what this show is, those are the types of challenges that have really been working on this season.
Yeah, I mean, the questions were more ruthless and mean than you would get on, a Survivor or another reality show. So it's good when they're being mean. There's good banter. They're laughing. They're having fun. This is a better version of the balloon game where they kind of wanted to get the targeting of people and see where everyone stands, where we kind of already knew in those tribes, and we recapped that and talked about it. But this was a much more lighthearted, fun version of that same idea.
Dude, go back and watch Survivor Panama. The Courtney episode of that, where she is just getting roasted in this exact challenge, is what it's just as mean-spirited.
Yeah, you're right. They used to be brutal with these in the OG Survivor. They would also, I forget what season it was. I want to say it was Guatemala, when it was kind of this game, but baked into a reward challenge. So it was like, who's the most in need of a shower?
Yeah.
And so they voted for someone like, okay, here we have a shower for you. Mm-hmm. And so that person actually got a reward. And it was hilarious because that's such a mean-spirited, who smells the worst, but that person actually earns a reward for smelling the worst. And so, yeah, it'd be like, who needs nourishment? And then they would get like an apple or something. I don't know.
Well, and that was also the one where it was who has the most tribe spirit. And it was Brian, and I forget who the other one was, but that's how they determined the tribe swap. Brian then picked his tribe, or whatever it was. They mixed up the tribes at that exact challenge. So obviously on Survivor, we've seen really fun iterations of this. But as the players and stuff have gotten a little bit more nicey nice, we don't see it as much. But I mean, back in the day, that Panama one, she was the most annoying. She was the smelliest. She didn't deserve to win. And she went back and it was just her and Shane back at camp after that. And it was so funny because she was just complaining. He's like, well, you are annoying.
You're annoying me right now. Like, stop complaining.
Yeah. So it is fun though to watch these guys do it because they don't take it seriously and they just kind of do whatever. And so it's fun to see them all go at each other and have Jay just, you don't deserve to be here and all of that. And he kind of can laugh it off. But then at the end of this episode, he's actually crying and everybody's calling him on it. And I thought that was like a nice little,
Why was he crying, by the way?
I have no idea.
It never got set up, or we didn't really get a confessional from him after, or from any of the other players about like, okay, he has this big decision point. It's like not really was he crying that he misheard Compton on the revote, and so he's like, man, I've just screwed up my game and now I've just lost $100,000. Was that why he was upset?
I have no idea because I feel like he's an analyst, right? He's an analytics guy. So I feel like he's probably got a whole boatload of money working for Barstool. And he used to be like their head of football operations. It's 100K. I mean, 100K is 100K, but this 100K, like he can't be crying over the fact that he might not win the $100,000, but it just came out of nowhere. And I almost think he was like, is it like a frustrated cry where you get like emotional and you want to lash out at people? And he's really trying hard not to lash out.
Or maybe he was just really close to PFT and had to vote him out. And he's just like, man, I can't believe it. I gotta vote PFT out. It's killing me. Like, yeah, and then he was thinking, wait, if I vote KFC, then we're gonna go to Rocks, or we're gonna have to talk about it. Likely end up going to Rocks, and then I'm at risk. And then should I even go through all that? And PFT, it seems like it said, hey man, just like vote for me. It's fine. I don't really care. So I don't know what where the tears, and then the jury's like laughing at him, like, wait, are you crying for there? And he's like, no. And then he goes, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Kirk just kept on it. You're really crying. He's actually crying. Why are you crying? Like but it was so out of nowhere. And he was sitting back there for so long. And I would love to know really what was going through his head, because his excuse was that Compton screwed him over. But like if Compton screwed you over, that's like enough to make you cry in that moment. When he
said Compton screwed him over, it's like Compton screwed me over not by lying to me, but by not speaking clearly or loudly enough.
Yeah,
like, that's where the miscommunication happened. It wasn't that Compton intentionally wanted Shay to vote the wrong way and force a tie. Like Compton was shocked that Shay didn't vote PFT on the revote or on the second. That's the second vote.
Yeah, the second tribal council of that night. Yeah. I don't really know. I don't think we'll ever get an answer to why he cried. I don't think there's going to be exit press for Surviving Barstool.
It could come up in the reunion. That's what I'm also thinking. They got rid of 2 people here because they're going to then do a boot on the next one, and then Wednesday finale with 5. But finale with 4. Yeah. And then they might have an hour, 45 minutes reserved for a reunion like Survivor does. Like that's totally a possibility also.
Gotcha. So maybe we'll get to find out why Shay was so emotional about this moment that seemed so insignificant. It just didn't seem like it was a big deal at all. And all of a sudden he's coming back and he's all puffy-eyed and stuff. And I'm sitting there going, okay, I kind of feel bad for him because he's hanging out with the Barstool guys. If this was regular Survivor and you see somebody cry, nobody really ever raises an eyebrow. But to cry and then have to go back and deal with all of these guys who are just going to roast you for that. Like, is he taking this really, really seriously?
He must be. I mean, he has.
Yeah.
To. And also, yeah, this seemed like once they announced, Jeff's like, all right, wait, sit down. We're going to do a challenge. And I'm like, oh man, I looked at the episode. I looked at the timer, man. Like, oh, they're going to do another vote here. And man, I was like, this is a slam dunk, PFT or Jerry. Like this was like, oh, this isn't even a big vote. Like we know where this is going. And then Shay's logic was, I guess if we just flipped on fights and KFC, then I guess we should continue going against them. But didn't everyone vote for Tommy? I'm also unclear on that. I wanted to ask you, because in normal Survivor, all the votes are red unless there's an overwhelming majority, in which case the ones that aren't red are just for the same person. You never obscure a vote for someone's name that hasn't been read yet. That's just part of the way you read votes in Survivor. And so we have 1 vote for PFT, and then the rest of the votes are Tommy. So does that mean KFC and Fights voted for Tommy, or did Barstool just not read the votes correctly and there were other votes for maybe Jerry, or I don't know, because they were supposed to do a vote split, and then it seemed like everyone flipped on Tommy. We never got any info about whether everyone was in on it or not.
Fights, I think, was in on it. I think Fights ended up flipping. KFC was the confusing one, though, because then KFC at the beginning of the next part said, oh, it was a good move voting out Tommy. I thought we should have done him next. So it made me think that KFC wasn't
Then who
actually.
did KFC vote for then?
Yeah, well, he must have voted for PFT, maybe. I have no idea. Maybe they thought Tommy was going to pull an idol. I have no clue why they read them in this way. And maybe it's just they don't care, and it didn't make
the thing. They usually do care, though. I've been on these shows, and they are very, I mean, with any show, it's like the reading of the votes and who gets eliminated is the climax of your episode. You take time to orchestrate the most suspenseful and intriguing order for the votes. So to just ignore it this time, I don't know. It feels weird.
It does feel weird. And I really don't know. I'm sitting here and I'm confused, and I really don't know. All I know for sure is that Compton flipped, and maybe this was, to put it in Survivor terms, maybe this was whenever Joe Englund became in trouble on a season, you would automatically just vote him off no matter how good of positioning he felt like, right? Like in Edge of Extinction, Joe Englund was in such a great spot. Everybody on his tribe loved him. First time they could vote him out, they voted him out. And maybe that's kind of the situation where Tommy, they just have to vote out. And so they can all just get on board with it. And they're going to talk about like, oh, we're with Tommy. Tommy's got numbers. But maybe it was just the plan the whole time.
And I could see that. I could totally see that where the 5 of them are like, let's just convince Tommy that it's all good. We'll do a vote split. We'll make him think like he's tossing out Survivor strategies. We're going along with it. I could get there, but where I'm struggling is with KFC acting like he was confused and that he wasn't a part of it, and then who knows what's going on and fights his head at all. So that's the only part where I'm just not clear on.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement with you. I really don't know, because it threw me off when they started just reading all the Tommy votes, and I said, oh, okay, but then KFC said what he said, and then I said, wait, there should have been at least one more vote for him. But there wasn't. And so, yeah, we really don't know. I mean, the next vote made total sense to me. The fact that it was a 3-3 split because Shay ended up going the wrong way. And so they re-vote.
Yes, that was very clear.
That one made complete sense to me. But yeah, that first one, I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't.
We were very close to having like an epic second tribal council if Jerry doesn't play his idol on the first one and they just blindside Tommy. Which I'm sad to see Tommy go. And when I was going in, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Tommy. It's PFT. Like PFT's my winner pick. I'm rooting for him. Tommy is, a huge Survivor fan, Survivor nerd, like big threat, big, personality on the show. I like Tommy a lot. Those are kind of the people I'm rooting for. One of them's going, but one of them's going to come out and survive. And so then second tribal council, or Jerry plays his idol, he wastes it. Mm-hmm. If he has that for the second tribal, and then has to guess. Basically, it's just rolling a dice. Am I going to play this on PFT or myself?
Yeah, and I think he probably would have ended up playing it right, because it seemed like everybody was ready to just vote out PFT.
He would have gone PFT.
I think he would have been able to play that idol for PFT at that vote where it would have mattered. I mean, they did a great job of flushing the idol, which we found out the answer was Cowboy from Survivor Cook Islands was the first person to ever say it.
You looked that up, you said.
Yeah, as part of Plan Voodoo. It actually came from our man Smorp. Smorp was the one.
Smorp is back.
He was back, and Smorp was the one who found the clip of Cowboy saying, it came to me, we have to get rid of the idol. We have to flush the idol. And it's like crazy that Cowboy had such an impact on this show. But yeah, they got him to flush it. They got him to play it incorrectly. It was a stupid move. He didn't need to do it. PFT didn't end up getting any votes, or maybe he got 1 or 2, whatever it was. It wasn't enough that it was going to send him home. So it was a wasted idol. And then to immediately have the tribal, now Jerry and PFT don't have time to regroup. And that was just
or if they maybe would have re-hidden an idol or something.
Yeah.
Because there being one idol in the game at Final 6 would make sense. It seems like there's no more idols, though, because Survivor will hide a new one until Final 5.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think oh, I just lost my train of thought. We were talking about the others. Oh, why do you think they decided to do this boot like this episode? Why do you what's the thought process behind that final 7 to 6 is when we want to do this?
Well, I think it's just probably working backwards. So clearly they want to have a 4-person finale and likely a final three. I know I tossed out the idea of a final two, but
Mhm.
with this few of days, I feel like you got to go final three. And they've used final three on all their other shows that start with 8 people. So to do a show once with 14, then go to 2 would kind of be insane.
Yeah.
So if you're working from final three, they probably just worked backwards and said, okay, you probably don't want to do a double boot right before the finale because that's kind of, those are huge votes. Like if you're starting the finale without 4 people, if you go 6 and 5 double, that feels like whoa, really quick to
Mhm.
speed through 2 enormous votes heading into a final 3. We also don't know if they're going to do a vote at 4 or if they're going to do fire making.
Have they done fire making in the past on the show?
No, I don't. I do not believe they have
Mhm.
because they start with 8 people. So to only have 4 real votes and then go to fire making would feel kind of weak. I mean, it feels weak already a little bit when you
Yeah.
start with 18 people. So, but here, if they want to, I don't know, do something different, or since they started with more cast members than they usually do, they could do that. But I think that's what it is. They don't want a double boot going into the finale. So if they're going to do a double boot at some point, it kind of has to be here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess because they could have done it earlier, but they did the double boot at final 10,
Right, you
right?
don't want back-to-back
Yeah.
doubles either. So they did a double
Yeah.
boot, and then we had the last episode of the batch last week was a single boot.
Mhm.
Then we come here double, then we go to single, then finale.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Why do you think they wanted PFT so bad instead of Jerry? Because Jerry feels like he got rid of the idol. He played the idol. He played it incorrectly, but they flushed the idol. Why are they voting out PFT instead of Jerry? Is PFT really a bigger threat to win this than Jerry?
I don't know. I think they're both really big threats,
Mhm.
and I think Jerry's probably the bigger jury threat, but
Mhm.
PFT is probably the bigger threat to win challenges and to like orchestrate something and pull moves. Like you saw PFT was playing hard today, even like I'm gonna go ask Compton for the idol with like I'm panicking, or
Mhm.
we're gonna take a shot. I mean, PFT seems like he understood the game. He was playing, he was okay with going home. So I don't know, maybe Jersey Jerry's got more going on too. Maybe he was making some deals. We didn't really hear from him going into that vote that much tonight. It was more PFT trying to work it with Compton and we had the quick scene of Shay and Compton being like, all right, yeah, we got the numbers. Let's do Tommy. So that's all
Yeah.
we really got.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now the final 5 is Jerry, KFC, Shay, Fights, and Will. And it feels like Jerry should be 5th place out of that. And based on how he participates in these challenges, he should be 5th place out of that. So I feel like, especially since Barstool's been talking up how everybody over there wants to give him the money, I don't see Jerry making it to the final tribal council. His performances and challenges have been absolutely terrible, and and he's just not good at that part of the game. And now he doesn't have an idol, and he doesn't have any of his buddies. And yeah, Che can't do anything now because they got rid of Tommy, but it wasn't enough to actually flip numbers or do anything like that. Now he's just absolutely screwed.
Yeah, I mean, Shay seems like a goat, right?
I mean, except for if he's crying, are they going to feel so bad for him that they just give him
No,
hundred
I
thousand
mean, he
dollars?
literally got answered the person who's least deserving to be there. And that could mean a number of things. One, maybe he already has money, like you were saying. I don't even know if he does. I don't really know where you picked that up, but hey, good for
I
you.
looked at his LinkedIn or Twitter or something.
Okay, so
Stalked him.
maybe he has money, so he doesn't deserve to have a shot at this. Another reason is that he's not like a top tier Barstool talent, and
Mhm.
he's already played this before. Like he's not one of the original guys. I don't know. I don't know how long he's been there, but he's one of the people I know the least. Um, Him, Kirk, and Gaz were the ones where it's like I do not know these people really at all. So that could be it. But I think you want to keep him around if that's the way. I mean, that's 2 answers right there.
Maybe that's why he's getting so emotional. Maybe it's because he's sitting there and he's saying, I don't feel like I necessarily belong with these guys, and I got my chance, and I feel like they're starting to like, I don't know. Maybe he's looking at it as like they're poking so much fun at him at this point that it does just get frustrating. I mean, I don't
Maybe, but it's Barstool. Like, you kind of got to know that, and
know.
he's
Yeah,
played
no.
one of these shows. I think, and he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. So I don't know. I feel like he's got to be at final 3.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense to
And then all
me.
we need is like a Jerry immunity or like someone to like. You probably want to break up KFC and Fights. I think
Yeah.
Fights Hey, Fights had like his coming out party this episode. He had a
Good.
big episode. Um, maybe that's picking up steam as a winner. I remember I said a couple of podcasts ago that the guy who doesn't play and doesn't care, like Barstool, would not bother them in voting for a winner. They might be like,
Mhm.
that's funny. Like,
Yeah.
that's actually hilarious that he was just like nice to everybody, didn't strategize too hard, gets to the end. Let's just vote for him. We like
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
Like, that would be fine in the Barstool universe.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that happens. I feel like tonight was the first time I actually got to know who Fights was at all, because when you used to say, "Oh, he's kind of the funniest guy. He's who I enjoyed the most."
He got voted as the funniest guy, right?
Was it? Yeah, he did, because I actually almost texted you and said, "Hey, look, you're right. He was tied for funniest with PFT. That's what it was."
And that's who I said were the two funniest guys.
Yeah. You have
Or no,
really
they all
good taste
voted.
in
They all
funny.
thought it was PFT, but they were wrong.
No, I think no, because it was a tie, so the people who put PFT also got it, but then Fights was the other one, and there were some people who put
Huh.
I don't know, somebody put somebody else. I forget exactly what
I
it
thought
was,
Fights
but
was the funniest.
yeah, but either way, Fights was definitely one of the names that came up, but I think it was two names. I think it was a tie, but either way, I finally felt like I got to know something about him, which was nice, because now with Tommy gone, I mean, my winner pick's looking great. Even is Will Compton like really stupid?
Wait, your winner pick is voted off. Rico's out.
Yeah, but then you asked me who I would do after that, and I said Compton. So I am like at least like on my second tier winner pick here. He's looking pretty good, but is he really stupid? That's the serious question, because the way they were talking about him tonight.
It's funny that I think that's kind of his thing, is that he's an ex-football player, obviously. And he's kind of like the dumb jock persona. He'll like, you keep hearing him say like the boys, and like he's just like kind of a guy's guy and jock. I think that's where the dumb thing kind of comes from. But you've seen him in these challenges, like the memory one, he got all the way to second place, which, I mean, memory doesn't make you smart or anything, but he's been playing the game. Like, he's not ignoring strategy. He's not confused on how it works. It seems like he wraps his head around it. So I don't think he's dumb, but that might be more of his like dumb jock shtick at Barstool.
Yeah, I mean, the way he was taking forever to answer his questions was really funny. They kept trying to get him. They were going to put a timer on this. Come on, because he couldn't just write down a name of who he thought was the dumbest and stuff like that. And then I think everybody put him down as the dumbest. So like he's just getting rolled. But then he wasn't the dumbest. That was the funniest part, is that everybody wrote Will as who they thought would be voted the dumbest. But then it ended up that Fights was the dumbest. So I couldn't tell if it is an act or if it's real, because when he's playing the game of Survivor, his strategy makes sense. Like,
no, he doesn't seem dumb at all in the show.
Yeah. Like, and when he was doing the whole thing about, I'm going to give up my necklace and, then we'll be good and that'll be the signal and all of that, I thought it was a little far-fetched, but it was like, okay, he's thinking, he's playing the game and he's trying to think through all of this. What did you think about that, with him saying potentially he'd give up his necklace to PFT and that would be the signal of things to come?
This is another point where I was kind of confused, because this was PFT's original plan, was I'm going to go ask for the necklace just to make it look like I'm panicked and that I really want to be protected. And that might be a way to get votes on him, so he plays the idol. I don't really know the full kind of end game of that strategy, but that's what PFT said he was doing. And then when we jump into that conversation, it seems like Compton brings it up first before PFT has the time to even say anything. And maybe that's just an editing thing and they were talking about it and that's where we jumped in. But it was kind of like, wait, now Will's just going to start offering it up. I don't know. Yeah, I was like, and then at the end, Will kind of realizes, hey, whether I give this to you or not, we still have the numbers to get Tommy. Like, what's the point of this? I'm only putting myself at risk. And PFT's like, no, you're not, because PFT's like, we aren't going to pull a fast one on you. But the only reason you would ever need someone to give up their immunity is if you're going to vote them out. Like, if you have the numbers to vote out someone else, him giving up immunity to PFT isn't going to change anything. Then they just put all their votes on Jerry. And I guess they could play an idol on Jerry. PFT has the necklace. And then they go out Tommy. But what Compton was saying and what was true was, hey, we have the numbers anyway. And that's really why they should have saved their idol, because they did have the numbers anyway. And I guess they just didn't trust that Compton and Shay, they couldn't trust with 100% certainty. And then also it's like, if you are unsure of whether Shay and Compton are flipping to you, if they're not flipping, they're with the other people, the 5, and they're splitting the vote. So you're wasting an idol anyway. So you
Yeah.
shouldn't have ever played the idol in that situation. Again, they're not Survivor fans, and probably maybe there's more going on. But if you think through it, it's like, okay, you got to kind of put your eggs in that basket. That's your only chance. Um, so
Yeah, I felt like it was confusing, and I feel like it was just bad gameplay, which is what made it even more confusing. Is that there wasn't as much logic to it as we're used to seeing on the regular game. And I feel like that's where like the idol, the giving up the necklace, the logic behind it from PFT wasn't good. But the fact that Jerry and PFT were so untrusting that they would vote out Tommy also felt illogical for a large portion of the argument. It felt like, why would you not trust them that they're telling you the truth at this point? Tommy is the biggest threat. And like you said, you're wasting that idol either way, because if they're really against you, if you think you have Shay and now it's 4-3, then they can't split the votes. But also, if you think you have Che, you probably have Compton. And Che's probably telling you, hey, I think we have Compton.
yeah, and I don't think you're ever thinking we have one and not the other. Like you kind of think, hey, they're a package deal. So you either have them or you don't. And if you don't have them, your idol's not going to do anything.
Yeah, exactly. So that was the confusing part of this to me. I'm going to throw in Patrick Taylor here just because, but he says Compton should win, but if Jerry or Che is final three without the other, they automatically get 4 votes from Barstool Chicago. So we'll be close. Do you put anything into the fact that Jerry or Che would just automatically get votes because of Barstool Chicago?
Maybe for Jerry,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't think Shay is gonna, like, if you're on that jury, you're like, you're Dave, you're Big Cat, like you're Hank, even if you're KFC. I mean, PFT's on the jury now, Rico's on it. Like you have big Barstool personalities there that make content. Like that is their professional job.
Mm-hmm.
Do they want the winner of the season to be Shay? Like probably not.
Yeah.
Unless he really like has some big moments in the next 2 or 3 episodes, or however many episodes are left, 2 episodes. I have a hard time seeing that these content people would want to award someone who's not. I mean, they voted him the least funny today, and that's because I think he is more of a behind the scenes like business guy. Like he's not like,
Yeah.
he doesn't make podcasts or video content. He doesn't. He's not known as being a content funny guy. And for this show, which is supposed to be a really funny version of Survivor, and it has been, I don't know if you want your king of your $100,000 third season with your heavy hitters to be that person. So I have a hard time believing that Shay wins if he gets to final 3.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest difference here is there's nothing wrong with Shay. He's just a normal guy, and these aren't normal guys that he's playing with. And the point of Surviving Barstool is to kind of show off the chaos that is Barstool. It really is. Like that, they're showing off the personalities, they're showing off the inner workings, they're making it a fun game where they yell at each other and they argue over stuff, and they get to do little competitions that their fans get to play along with. That's the point. Che winning does defeat that point. If he goes on to win, they got to kind of give us a reason and a
Right.
story.
That's not who you want to
won.
champion this project, and like for a future season or the sponsor or whatever. Like you want someone like Jerry, or even like if even Fights wins. That's what I'm saying. That would be so Barstool to have the guy that, he's at the table eating the factory. He's like, I just want my chicken cranberry, man. Like, and then they do the editing trick that I think they maybe are Lost fans. I know you're a big Lost fan, Phil, as am I, where Jin is on the beach in season 1, and Jin does not speak English. He only speaks Korean, and he can't understand everybody. And they kind of blur out the noise and kind of put you in his world, that he can't interact with anyone on this deserted island other than his wife, who he's having fights with. Because he only speaks Korean, and we're kind of let into Jin's world. This is what was happening with Feidelberg. Everyone's talking about splitting the vote, strategy, and numbers, and the challenge, and the idol. Wait, do they have an idol? Do we have an idol? Should we go look for an idol? And Fights just wants some Factor, man. Like he's looking for Factor cookies. He's getting his chicken cranberry. Like he's the best at promoting the sponsor too. So that goes a long way in with these content creators. So I think it would be so funny if Fights. And he's super likable, and they voted him the funniest, or one of the funniest guys. So I think he actually has like a real shot to win this game, and that really fits in. I think Compton could win for sure, even though he's not like an OG. Jerry would be an absolute great win. KFC is a staple of Barstool, one of the OG big three guys. So like I think everyone besides Shay would satisfy like a Barstool win. I just don't see it with Shay.
Yeah, so that's why he's crying, is because he realizes that he is screwed. I think he said, I'm on an island or something like that. And I think he realizes he's there as the third place goat who can't do anything about it at this point. I like what you're saying with the factor stuff, because it really makes me laugh. So I'm sure you didn't see it and don't see it, but the new Haunted Mansion movie that came out this summer, there's a scene in it where the guy is talking about, like, it's supposed to be the emotional heart of the movie. And so they're talking about like his wife dying, and it's all sad and stuff. And he just starts product placing all these. She really liked going to Wendy's. So that day she went from wherever to Wendy's and then Subway, and ate her Baskin Robbins. And you're like,
wait, was it a bit or was this like actual?
No, it was supposed to be drama, but it was Disney had no other way to get the product placement in. So they were putting the product.
I feel like that's a terrible way to get a product.
Oh, it was horrible. It was absolutely abysmal.
Like a sad thing, like your wife dying.
But that's what kind of made me laugh about this, is while Fights was doing this, I was thinking about that scene where it's like they're all real serious, talking about something really serious. Like, did they bring in those cookies from Factor? Like, I really love Factor. Everything is Factor. And it just made me laugh in like that same way, where Barstool is actually finding a better way to do product placement in this show where it's so ridiculously over the top than what Disney was doing in this huge millions of dollar budget movie.
Yeah, we talked about that last week too, when they bring the boxes of Factor and they all like get yay, and it's like, it's like they went down to the tree Christmas morning or something, and they're like giddy as school children, like, I don't know, eating ice cream or McDonald's. Like, they are so over the top. But here I think it's a little bit different. This is like Fights, I think, actually was like, I do not care about strategy. Like, what are we talking about? I'm just really hungry. I keep eating the Factor. And of course he's hamming it up a little bit. He knows what he's doing for sure, but there is definitely some honesty and truth in his desire for more Factor.
Yeah, he loves Factor. I mean, I've never had it, but who can fault him? I certainly want to try it after this. I just want to try it. I don't even know if I'll like it, but I want to try it at this point. So you think Fights could end up walking out of here with the $100,000 because he just understands what they're like? Because people think about this on Survivor. They want their winner to represent their season well, but they also don't really have an interest, because if the season sucks, they don't lose money because the season sucks. They might not get asked to play again, but they don't lose money. It's the producers and everybody like that who then have to figure out, okay, how can we make this season better next time? So, but you think that's really going to be one of the main factors here?
I don't know if it's the main. I think people are going to be very spiteful and they're going to be bitter. Like, this will be a bitter crowd. I know in the Survivor community, sometimes people hate bitter juries. It's like, vote for the best player who made the best move. And it's like, okay, well, Survivor is a social game. And if you backstab people and you lie and you're a dick, like, you're not going to get votes. I think people are going to be like, I'm not voting for that guy because that guy voted me out, and I'm pissed, and I'm not going to give him credit. I think we could see a lot of pettiness and a lot of bitterness out of this jury. And then I do think you're not voting for the guy who was voted the least funniest guy, like for your Barstool show. Like, you work at Barstool. A lot of these people on the jury, they have ownership in Barstool. I mean, obviously Dave, but I mean, Big Cat and KFC have big pieces of the company. I'm sure PFT does at this point as well. And that, they bring in a ton of money for that company. So as it's almost like you're a producer and player of the game at the same time. You want the winner to be satisfying for the audience, that they were, that they made good TV. And all these people do. It just, Shay would, I feel like, he would lose votes because people like, we really want him to be like the winner of this like huge contest. I don't think so. I've made this point over and over. You keep asking me.
No, but I wouldn't.
I know. I feel like I'm being an asshole to Shay. He's probably a great guy.
You are being an asshole, but that wasn't even about Shay. You just keep bringing it back to him. That was just about, do you think that will be the main factor as to who they vote for? I didn't even say Shay. I just wanted to see who you thought. So Fights was the guy. I mean, I'm sorry, but this is like in the Survivor world. This would be, obviously all of production would have voted for Russell Hantz to win Samoa because he was phenomenal television.
That's a great point.
Why they don't vote.
Right, and the jury votes Natalie. That's why I'm like, you're not going to get a Natalie win because the guys at Barstool are like, no one would like the Natalie win. The Russell win would be way more fun. Yeah. So that's how I think it will influence their vote. I could be wrong, though. I've been wrong before, Phil.
I know you're wrong a lot. What else do you not like about Shay? Before we move on, you got anything else you just want to get off your chest to talk shit about this poor guy?
He cries too much, man.
Yeah, he's a crybaby. I couldn't believe it. I was heartbroken for him. I started to cry a little bit watching because I was just so upset. But okay,
I started laughing. I was like, wait, holy shit. Surviving Barstools bringing someone to tears. Oh my God.
I know. We've really hit the apex. So we did that first challenge. That was the fun one. The second one, what did you think of this over-under challenge and the fact that it went 2 questions?
I think I would have liked it more if it was longer than 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the over-under. I think those are great questions. And, Barstool has such a stable foot in the betting industry and ground. So just like tying over-under into it, I think that kind of fits Barstool. So with all the gamblers up there, I would have liked to see a few more questions, or maybe you give them each like 10 chips or tokens or something and let them gamble. Like I think maybe adding some sort of gambling element would have been fun, where they have to, risk it, and maybe you give them like a theme. All right, this question is called balls. It's like, how much do I know about balls? I'm going to bet. All right, I'm going to bet 5 coins. What was the second question? It was mints. So it was like, all right, Mincy, that's your topic. I don't really know mints at all. I'm only going to bet 2 tokens on this one. I don't know. It could have been good to ham up the gambling and just have it last a little bit longer. But clearly at this point, they're like, we started with 14 people. We're shooting this, and we still don't know how long they're shooting this. And between 5 and 7 days, we need to just power through eliminations. So I understand why this was a little bit sped up. And that's what Fights was said. He's like, this one was the most random. That's why I felt like I had the best chance to win at any of these, because it was all up.
And I feel like this had to be night 4 because what's his name was still going to have time to go home and jack off. He was going to stay in the hotel so he could jack off. That's where
and he said, he's like, I don't know what time of day it is. It feels like we're in like a casino, or it feels like we're in Vegas. And it was very unclear. So this was probably, this was, I don't know. They'd probably done a tribal council, because we didn't see any camp life scenes really early. We didn't see anyone in robes. We didn't get any talk about how they slept. So this episode probably started in the middle of whatever day they were on.
Yeah. I was shocked that the second question was, what word did Mincy say? And everybody sitting there was like, what? And it was like more or less
like, even if you know Mincy and you read his blog, like, that one. And it's not like Mincy was on the show or a jury member. I don't know. It's kind of just a weird question.
Yeah, especially
your second question,
and especially with the controversy too around Mincy earlier this year. That's why Feidelberg.
Feidelberg. That's the word though.
Yeah, because I mean, like, that's almost like Barstool is. It felt like Barstool was winking at their audience with that one of like, we're going to bring up Ben Mincy, and here it is. And, whatever. But I feel like your idea is a good idea. I think that they probably just wanted to do what would be a quick one, over, under, boom. That could be over in 5 seconds. We need a quick one, whatever. But Austin McGowan just showed up. Not Tommy. No. There you go. That's excitement. I didn't mention Zero Major 01 earlier, but he said that he thinks Shay cried because he had to vote off PFT. Not 100% sure, but I think that's it. I mean, that's just funny.
Yeah, no, that's definitely the most likely. That makes the most sense. But also, it's like PFT just told you that he didn't care.
Yeah,
it was like, I'm cool with it.
Yeah,
he was even that. Even though it makes the most sense, it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, I was I forget where I was going with the thing with the over under. I think that they needed the quick one, but I do think that in the future, if they do a Surviving Barstool season 4, which I think they'll definitely do, they probably just won't talk about blowing up people's houses. That'll be the number 1 rule. I think that that would be a good challenge to expand on, because the over under thing, when I saw that, this will be fun, but it should have been less random, right? Like, it would have been more fun if it was over under on the amount of Super Bowls from the state of Pennsylvania. And you actually have to think about that. Okay, there was the Steelers, there's the Eagles. Was there any other team that was ever located in the state of Pennsylvania and hit them with that number or something? So they could have done it a little bit less random, because
or just think or that it wasn't like single elimination. Like, you're out the second you get one wrong, you're like instantly out.
Yeah, and they just wanted this over as quickly as humanly possible. So it is what it is. I mean, I thought it was a fun idea. It's just, why waste your betting one when your audience is so heavy into betting, right? Like, why waste that so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, it was barely betting. The only betting was that it was over under. They didn't even bet anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't. So are you who are you saying is going to win now then? Because your winner's out, right?
Yeah, PFT went out. He survived 2 more tribal councils than your winner pick. I know it was the next
Well, he
episode.
tried one more tribal council, but 2 more votes. Let's get it right.
I guess 2 more votes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, that's 2 different tribal councils. There's a muni challenge in between.
No, that's the same tribal. It's the Michelle from Fiji thing where she went home at the same tribal council, but everybody was so pissed off about that. It's
No,
the
it's
same
like
tribal.
it's kind of like the message in the bottle thing from Cook Islands, but they at least had an immunity challenge here because they could have said it no challenge. That's when Survivor broke its own rule, which is between every vote out, you will have a chance to win immunity. That was like
Yeah.
a firm rule of the game up until Cook Islands.
And who's the one who ended up going home because of that? I can't even remember. Was that oh my god.
It was
Brad?
like, yeah, it was whoever Parvati was with, and I think I hate to say it, like I think it was a white person, but that's how they divided the tribes that
They
season.
literally
So, like,
divided the tribes out.
I think it
But
was
I
one
don't
of
think it
Parvati's
was
allies
because
from the Caucasian tribe.
but it wasn't Adam and it wasn't Penner and Flicka was already gone, so I don't think it could have been. So I think it was. I think it was Brad, or maybe it was Nate, or maybe it was.
It might have been Nate, actually.
Yeah, Nate was.
I don't know.
Underrated. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So who'd you change your winner pick to? Are you on fights now, or are you going?
I think I just have to be. I'm like literally thinking it's got to be Fights or Jerry, and you're on Compton. I mean, Jerry would probably be. Yeah, but like Jerry's in a bad spot here, and he's a big jury threat. Yeah, I'm gonna go Fights, man. I'm just gonna go in on this theory that it would be the most funny Barstool thing.
I think Compton's going to get to the end. I think at Final 5 here, I think Compton's going to get to the end. I think he's going to sit with Shay, and I think he's going to sit with KFC, and I think that they're going to vote for him to win over KFC and Shay. I think Shay will get third and get 0 votes.
See,
and
I feel like KFC can make a good case. Like he's played pretty well. He used to be the host of the show. He's like an OG Barstool guy. I feel like if KFC gets to the end. Yeah, but he has a lot of money though. Also,
that's what I think will stop him from winning. I think some of the poor people, as Dave likes to call them, I think some of the poor people will not vote for KFC because KFC is already too high up. I think that would automatically it would be okay. It's between Compton and Shay. Well, we're obviously gonna vote Compton because Will just gave you 18 reasons why Shay doesn't deserve it. So, and I'm not talking about Will Compton. I'm talking about the Will sitting near me, sort of.
Yeah, who's the dumbest? Everyone writes down Will.
Yeah,
you could use that. Yeah,
you could use that. I could use that'll be
a show.
We'll have a good challenge coming up for the specialists. What else you got? I mean, we're back recapping this again tomorrow night, and then Wednesday I'm probably gonna be up till 2:00 in the morning because I got to podcast Real Survivor, watch this, then podcast this. So, you have anything else you want to say about this episode?
I'm sad to see Tommy go. I don't know if we gave Tommy enough of a send off, but I think the Joe Englund thing makes sense where it's like, hey, let's just rally together, get Tommy out of here. They'll have the numbers regardless of whether Tommy's in the game or not. So, hey, credit to him for making the merge. He's a great player. And then I'm sad to see PFT go. I think he was my winner pick, and I think he's one of the funnier guys currently at Barstool. So I'm the boot order is not like ideal right now. Like because we've already lost Dave and Big Cat and Hank and Rico. So it's like to lose PFT and Tommy back to back is it's tough.
Yeah, it is.
But everyone still left is good, So I mean,
Will called himself the Dragon Slayer. He said Kingslayer, but he said Dragon Slayer first. And so Will is officially coach and everybody knows Coach is 2-0 in Survivor history, or 2-1, or 3-0. He's never lost.
Yeah, no, he's 0 for 3.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He actually hasn't won. That's a good point. Yeah, I was just trying to give hope to anybody who's like halfway through Token Sheens and just turned in to this podcast. I'm like, holy shit, he's gonna win? No, he's not. But yeah, I don't know. He's the Dragon Slayer. That's a big deal, man. And I could see Compton getting the votes at the end because he's the one who took down Tommy Smokes, or at least he's the one who can make the best argument for being the reason that Tommy Smokes.
That's true, but now what we see from Survivor, especially modern day Survivors, whoever like makes the big move to take out the threat, then that person becomes the threat, and then whoever takes them out. I mean, it's what we see in all these new Survivor seasons.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to be talking tomorrow about when we do this podcast tomorrow. I feel like I'm going to be talking about Julie being the person who was voted out because of that exact reason. So we'll see. But if you're enjoying this and you haven't listened to our other episodes and you want to hear Will get something right, sort of, because I guess it was more of me getting it wrong with Rico because you picked PFT, so you're not really doing that well. But if you want to listen to our other episodes, we did episodes 1 through 3 in one episode. We did 4, 5, and 6 every night last week. And now we're doing 7 today. We'll be 8 tomorrow night, probably around that like 11:30 time again, whatever the time we did last Tuesday. And then Wednesday we'll be back whenever. I don't know how long. I'm really worried that Wednesday night's episode is going to be 2 hours long, and I'm going to really hate the fact I might be watching that one on 2 times speed if it's 2 hours long, because that's a long episode.
We'll figure it out.
Anyway, hope you're all enjoying it. Subscribe, like this. If you're not following us, but you're into this episode, if you're into this series that we're doing, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share with your friends, tell everybody that we're doing this, and we'll see you tomorrow night.
Bye.